So welcome back everybody and welcome to Christine again. In this segment we're going to look at how to have a calm Christmas. So I love Christmas. It's one of my favourite times of the year. I really do. And really from the midpoint of November I'm already getting excited about it. However, it does come, I feel, with a lot of pressure. Pressure for, financial pressure. For some people, it can be very pressureful around family. They mightn't want to spend time with their families. They might not have families to spend time with. It can be a time where they're coming together with people that they don't see that often or that they want to avoid. And I hear it a lot with clients as well who just really don't like the time because of everything that it brings for them. And sometimes I feel as well, and I often hear this, if people are wanting to have relationships or have come out of relationships, they feel like that energy of loneliness is amplified at this time of year. So it's a lovely time, and it is a lovely time, but for some it's not. And then for some it is, but it's just like that feeling of can't wait to get it over with. So would you have any suggestions, Christine, for the listeners on how to enjoy a stress-free Christmas, or as near to this as is possible for people to achieve?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of what you've said there is very poignant. I mean, Christmas is supposed to be a time of good cheer and everybody celebrating, but for a lot of people it is the complete opposite. And as you've said there, it brings up issues that some of them may not even realise that it's actually been causing them problems, like emotionally or just stressing them out. So financial stress, as you've said, that can be enormous. People feel the pressure to spend a lot of money that they may not really have. For the sake of a couple of days celebrations, they get in over their heads, and obviously they want the best for their families, but I think people need to be realistic about what they can afford. So, is it worth being in debt for a long time for the sake of a few days? So in relation to financial stress, I would say you really should look inwards to see how much you can actually generally afford, and also make a reasonable budget with yourself. So even by thinking what you're going to do, that can maybe take a little bit of the stress out of it for you. And you also mentioned as well that it is a very family oriented time of year, and that can be very upsetting for people who might be alone or might be single. Or on the other extreme, there might be pressure on people to spend time with different family members when in reality they might be happy to stay at home and do their own thing. So I think the key thing there, and this might be difficult for some people to do, but it really is the thing to get some changes made. You need to set some boundaries. That's the best way. It might be difficult, but if you really want to cut out some of the pressure, say, well, I can't spend X amount of time or days with you, but I can do Y, and, make sure it works for you and your family as well. Because I know traditions are a very big thing at Christmas, but I think in this day and age with people being so busy with work and, their own time is precious and they feel under pressure to please other people, new traditions can be formed. So maybe you always did something on a particular day, but that doesn't suit anymore. So maybe form a new tradition and say, this year we're going to stay at home, we're going to go visit you on this particular time. I'm sure there might be some disagreements, but you really need to be strong in that and set some boundaries. And the other thing would be, when families do get together, there's sometimes, as you mentioned, there could be underlying tension because everybody's in close proximity. And when you're used to your own space or your family life and then you're all back together, be it in the family home or something, the old traits come out and people tend to revert to the roles that they played when they were growing up. There might be arguments. And so what I would say, and some tips and advice, that I would give people for a stress-free or as much stress-free as they can get would be, there's a very good thing that I use in coaching, which is CIA, and not the government agency, but control, influence, and accept. So if you look at yourself and say, okay, what can I control in this situation or with this individual? So is it the way I react? Is it how I speak to them? Is it how I let them affect me? Or what can I influence? So perhaps you can get people to spread the workload, for example, or you can, as I mentioned earlier, set some new boundaries, create some new traditions about how you're going to do things. And then there's the part of what must you accept. So what is there that you can have no control or influence over? And unfortunately, it might be something you just have to accept. But I can guarantee, because being in similar circumstances in, for example, in work environments and over the years with myself, once I knew there were certain things that it wasn't me, I didn't need to take it personally. I couldn't control it. It was out of my control. So I accepted it. There's a bit of a weight off your shoulders because you know that you've done all you can. And, okay, it's going to be like this for a certain period of time. And it can be true, again, of spending time with family or in situations that you don't like. So another thing are breathing exercises. And these are great because you can do them anywhere, anytime.
Yeah.
And what I would say is it's a really quick fix, and it helps because it slows down your adrenals, which create the adrenaline, which gives that fight or flight and the anxiety. And this is good in any situation where you might feel a little bit stressed or anxious. Take a deep breath in through your nose, hold it for a couple of seconds, and then let all the air out, breathe out air out again through your nose, just to empty your lungs. And do that one after the other for about 4 or 5 times, and you'll feel yourself calming down. That's a good quick fix because you're getting the oxygen in, you feel calmer, and again, as I said, it can be done anytime, anywhere. If you can remove yourself from a stressful situation, there's one good thing to do is, if you know that you're going into a situation that's going to, you know it's going to cause problems when you get there because it might be the same thing every year or that individual each time, maybe plan an escape route. Say you have to make a phone call and slip out for 5 or 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Go for a walk if you can. Just, leave the room. If you can, as I said, go for a walk. Another one is just to even listen to some music or read a book. Whatever enables you to reduce your stress level.
Yeah.
But even if you can remove yourself from that situation, even for a short period of time, it helps. And the other thing is people tend to maybe react differently. Just remember, drink is never the answer to solving a problem because it just adds to further arguments or emotional responses. And the underlying problems are still there. And you'll probably end up with a really bad hangover the next day that just adds to the situation as well.
Yeah.
Just bear that in mind. It isn't, it might make you feel a bit better at the time, but it's not going to help the underlying problem.
Yeah.
And again, with food, if you have a tendency to maybe comfort eat, if you're stressed or upset, you probably regret that the next day again when you've overindulged. And again, that voice that we mentioned earlier is going to come back in and start telling you, why did you do that? You'll get angry with yourself. It's like a vicious circle. So just bear that in mind. When you're in that situation, just be present and wonder if you are reaching for the food or if you are feeling stressed, what is it that's making you feel that way? And can you control it, influence, or accept it?
Yeah, that's fantastic. I think I've just been writing down some notes as you've been talking there because I think that those 4 things you said there are brilliant and I think really, really beneficial for people over Christmas. But actually in any life situation, and I just want to recap on them. So the first one was CIA, which is control, influence and accept. The second one is breathing exercises. The third one is an escape route. And you can be present, like it's in a room and have an escape, whether, like you said, it's go on your phone or read a book. And then the last one is be present and look at maybe not overindulging or reaching for those maybe things that we do that we might be more addicted to as well, or things that are going to make us feel good in the short term but not in the long term. And I think you've covered so many things there for Christmas specifically, but those 4 things I think are fantastic, and I'd love the listeners to think about those now in situations that they're going to be in for the future, because they're really great tips. And part of the reason I created Time for Your Mind was, I've worked with so many people over the last number of years, and it's the question I always get asked is, okay, so what do I do? How do I start? What's next? And, I'd send them so many different, like that, little exercises they could do or things they could read. And it really is about Time for Your Mind is about trying to get you to understand and to learn and to incorporate exactly like those 4 methods you gave into your day-to-day life. So you can still be sitting in that room with that stressful situation, or maybe around a relationship you don't want, or relationships with family you don't want. And then you've got 4 methods there of reducing your stress instantaneously. So I just think that's really, really great, and thank you for sharing that and explaining it so well as well. Like I said, I took notes for myself for using those as well in the future, because I think they're really good. And And
one other thing,
yeah, of course.
I'd like to add, and it depends on where people work as well, but it's something to bear in mind. Some companies, no matter how big or small, have employee services where they can call a number, free phone number, and they can be put in touch with people, professionals, on a confidential basis, who will speak to them about financial stress, marital stress, anything that they might refer them on to someone. And some companies also provide a certain amount of appointments with professionals as well for free. So I think it's something to bear in mind. If you do feel that you need to go that bit further, have a look at where you work, if that's something that's provided as a free benefit. By all means, it is confidential, and look into it. And they offer a range of services to help people cope with stress and situations that they might find themselves in.
Yeah, that's really great, because some people probably don't even know if their workplace do that or not. And for those people who mightn't be in workplaces that provide it, or in workplaces at all, I'll always be placing on a section on the website, the free helplines that people can ring, because I do, like we were talking about a few minutes ago, Christmas can bring up a lot, whether it's just for you emotionally as well, or if what you're having to engage with is very, very negative and putting yourself in any toxic situation. So it's great to have those other resources you can tap into, as well as those methods there you gave yourself, which are brilliant. So that was fantastic. I just wanted to do one segment on that, because I do think it's a part that we all experience on some level. For some it's more minor than others, and I just wanted to give it its own little segment on that. So thank you so much for that again. We're going to be moving on to the last topic now in the next audio, and that's going to be about preparing for the new year and for 2017. So thanks again, Christine, and I'll talk to you in the next segment.